What have you seen as an interesting trend in topics?
There's an interesting topic, and maybe it's because we're sitting in a little bit of the data and privacy space. Last year, the dialogue around data was all about privacy sandbox. Everybody's talking about Google. It's Google this, Google that. In fact, Google was the topic of data. I haven't heard the word Google since I arrived here. I just said it for the first time. This year, folks are talking about data because they understand it's an asset. They understand that it's gold. They understand that there's value to it. And so that conversation has changed from something another company, in this case Google, was going to do that was going to force the industry into a particular model, to something that companies are taking better control of. I actually think that's a really positive move from last year.
CTV is still quite popular, and they're kind of debating about how CTV is going to change in the next few years, and gaming is upcoming. So there's a lot of new gaming studios coming to Cannes in the last couple of years that I've been noticing. AI is another hot topic that everybody's talking about, from improving your workflow to optimization of everything that you do to making more revenue. So that's like an ongoing thing this year.
13 years, this is the busiest I've ever seen it, I will
Really?
say. Yeah, I'd say the worries of the economy and will people pull back? Absolutely not. This is hands down the biggest one. I think we're seeing a lot of the influencers because the social networks are sponsoring them and bringing a lot more of them. That's adding a little crowd. That's probably not great, but good for the business and the industry. Yeah. But I mean, I've been in sports world for the last few days. So I mean, the trends are, we're seeing women's sports blowing up. We're seeing athletes getting involved in the brand and advertising business in a way that we really haven't seen before.
I'm seeing a lot on collaboration, I think. And
I like that.
In a time, in this day and age right now, I think we probably need more collaboration and partnership than anything, and on many different levels.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing really people come together, whether that's, for us, it's data collaboration. It's trying to figure out, if I have a signal or insight that's important, how I'm going to connect it with you and the place that's most important or works best for you. So that's a clean room, that's your own tech stack or things like that. But it's just, people driven, data integration, and it's really collaboration, finding those ways to make it work.
There is so much going on in the agency world right now. So if you think about the major players, Group M has had an eventful week, right? Mark Reed resigned this week. Obviously, they've had a ton of headlines, a lot of uncertainty about what the future means. You've got IPG and Omnicom potentially merging. Then again, 48 hours ago, maybe not. So, really uncertainty there. You've got Publicis, which right now is leading the charge. And then you've got Dentsu and Havas maybe trailing a little bit. And the question is, what does that mean? So, I think there's a lot of buzz right now around indies and what is the future of the indie? And, can the indie be really highly disruptive to what historically it's been a holdco game, and it's been really tough to break through that. We should all be really sensible and really pragmatic in our approach to how we celebrate an industry that we all love.
Yeah.
Because while we love it and we're fortunate to be here, not everyone can say the same thing. And so I think that's part of the playbook. But it's not what you do in Cannes, it's what you do after Cannes. And so I think the moments of serendipity where you bump into people who you've never chatted with before, and you stop and you have a 5-minute chat on the street, really, those become your future. And those may become the next big opportunity if you play your cards right.
Cannes is a really special event. Obviously, it really is. The conversations are an intersection of obviously creative, media, tech, and really culture. And I don't think there's a better example of that than what's on the horizon, which is an amazing 2026 of live sports. It's that evolution of live sports into programmatic in the digital ecosystem. If you look at the US alone, over 50% of consumers are now watching live sports content on their CTV apps as opposed to linear TV. And it just presents an amazing opportunity for marketers. It's only being accelerated by AI, and specific to programmatic, it's making it way more accessible, performative, and from a creative standpoint, we can start to have many more one-to-one conversations with customers through media and live sports. So really, really exciting. But the last piece of it, which is obviously the most important, is what does that mean from a measurement standpoint? Right, this is the first time that we can actually take a look at this digital ecosystem of live sports and measure against it, be it brand lift in incrementality or conversion metrics, and bringing that all together.
So I think we cannot have a conversation in Cannes or anywhere else in the industry right now without talking about AI and the agentic AI or agent AI. So I think that's the hot topic right now that needs to be on everyone's mouth.
Yeah. Sustainability as well.
Yes. I'm a little worried about the media agencies and what's happening from the restructuring standpoint. It'll be interesting to see how that all fleshes out. Again, going back to all that AI and sort of things that will be automated. I do think there's a proliferation of solutions that kind of fit between the buy and sell side that might be kind of superfluous. So really finding a differentiator in terms of what you're bringing to market is important. Again, we see a lot of different companies, so our perspective is 360, the flywheel.
I love it.
I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm and excitement, which is great, and that usually happens when people get to do business in the south of France, sipping on rosé. But what's cool about it this year is it's coming off the heels of Possible.
Yep.
And I feel like there was just a lot of, you have these tentpole events. You have your January events, then you have your April event, and this is the one that really gets you ready for the second half of the year. So I think everyone's pumped, myself included, and that's before the rosé.
Right.
So just imagine after.